2009 Volkswagen Golf City Golf version, which I think was only sold in Canada, with the 2-liter 4-cylinder oil change, oil and filter change. So just put the hood up. We're going to be jacking up in a second and back in a minute. Okay, with the car jacked up on the oil pan, you'll see the drain bolt is an 8mm Allen-headed socket, or Allen-headed wrench. And I'm just going to pull that out and move the light and trip oil over that. I'm going to lift the bucket up so the initial splurge doesn't go everywhere. And let that drain in. When that's done draining, we're just going to put the bolt back in and move to the top. Okay, so the oil pan drain plug was retorqued to 10 to 12 foot-pounds, and now you got to take off, in order to get to the splash, under the splash pan to get to the oil filter, I have to take off these 2 screws. There's one, sorry, I got too close for you here. I'm at the front and at the back, like right above below the oil pan. There's 2 T25 Torx bits. There's 2 there, one and one on the other side. So you take those off and then rotate the cover out, and back in a minute. See, there's just little clips at the front of the cover. So once you take those off, you just slide it out. Back in. Okay, so now I pulled the shield off, and now I'm just going to take off the filter from underneath. It's at the front of the engine, right up underneath the splash shield. I'm using one of the adjustable finger grabber filters. I don't know what they're called. They're just, as you turn them, they grab. Wow, I think Hercules put this last filter on. Holy Christ.
Might have been Rob Ford.
It's a 30,000 kilometer filter, it says on the filter. That's weird. Anyway, now they've got loosened, you can do it by hand. This.
Rob Ford on crack might have put it on.
So, where's the drain pan? Can you hand me that drain pan? Never mind. Because it is going to drip. Nice. Of course it missed the drain pan. It always does. Ah, crap. Well, it's best to use your bare hands. You can clean them. And this filter weaseling an oily filter past these. Are these power steering or air conditioning hoses? Either way, they're a bitch. They're in the way. Okay, I'm gonna clean up this crap a little bit and be back in a second. Oh, not yet. Fill that half full with oil.
What?
Pre-fill that with oil. Okay, so I'll be back in 1 minute. Oh, sorry, moved the camera there on you. You see that there? Yeah, okay. So you're still going to get some dirty oil dripping out of there, but I've cleaned up in here as much as possible off the hoses and everything. And then taken the new filter, put a little bit of oil along the lip so it doesn't stick, and then half filled the new filter with oil. So you're just basically getting oil into the filter, because when you first start your car, the oil pump is going to have to pump oil through the filter and fill the filter before it continues on into your engine. So when you first start it, after an oil change, it's best to have the filter as full as possible, so the least time that your car is running without oil getting up to the upper end of the engine. It only takes a few seconds, but it's just extra precaution. And you're basically going to tighten it as tight as you can by hand. and about 1/8 of a turn with the wrench. If I could figure out where I put the damn wrench. Anyway, you don't need to see me putting off the filter wrench. I'll do that when I turn off the camera because it's kind of in the way with this oil bucket. And I don't remember where I just dropped it. It's snowy and everything here, and everything's freaking getting covered. So yeah, put it on as tight as you can by hand, and then get your filter wrench and put it on about another 1/8 to 1/4 of a turn, and that's it. Don't torque it on like a lug nut because you'll never get it off. That's also one of the reasons that you put a little bit of oil on the seal so it doesn't stay stuck permanently. So anyway, I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay, if you get the Volkswagen Audi filter, it's good for 2 years or 30,000 kilometers. So you can go 2 oil changes on it. We didn't know when this one was done before, so we changed the filter. So generally, every other oil change, you change the filter on the Volkswagen if you have the right filter. So anyway, now it's simply a matter of adding. What's your capacity, do you know? How many liters?
Good question.
Yes, it is. All cars are different. So we're just merely adding the oil now. Everything else is basically done. We're using 1030 because it's turning into winter here now. 1040 is the normal recommended for summertime, but it's going to be very cold here, so 530 is fine. Mobile Super if it matters. And the oil filter was a K&N. Generally, I've never used K&N filters on a Volkswagen before, but got a good deal on a whole bunch that were being closed out, so I bought them. They should be good for another year or so worth of oil changes. Someone's checking his manual right now. We'll be back in 2 seconds to tell you the capacity. Okay, oil capacity was 4.4 liters, which is what we've put back in. We've put about 4 liters back in because there's always a little bit of residual oil left in the engine. You never know how much. So it's best to put about half a liter less, or even a liter less, because it won't hurt the car to run for a few minutes with a liter less. We're going to start the engine, run it for 2 to 3 minutes, shut it off, wait 3 or 4 minutes, and then check the dipstick. And as long as it's in between the little thatch marks on the dipstick on the bottom, there's no high-low mark on this dipstick. There's just a little thatch spot in the middle. As long as the oil is within that area, then you're fine. So anyway, that's about it. I hope this helps. Okay, after letting it sit for 5 minutes, we checked the oil, and the oil level's fine within the little hatch part of the dipstick. Never, ever, ever overfill your oil. It's worse than underfilling. Overfilling will kill your engine, and I'm stressing that it is worse than underfilling. You can run a liter low is much better than running a liter too high. Anyway, thanks for watching.